Hey everybody, Jeff Morrell here with Shaune Corbett down in Texas. Big agent down there, been in the business for 14 years, on track to do 50 million in volume this year. We're going to hear how he's done it, how he's built it, get all kinds of good nuggets here. Stick around, it's going to be good. Here we go. Shaune, good to see you again. We are back here. We did this yesterday, guys. If you got on here, I apologize. We had some technical issues, and anyway, so we thought, it was a great interview. It was good talking to you. I thought let's just do it again. I appreciate your time again. I know you're busy, so anyway, but how's everything down there in Dallas, down in Texas?
Yeah, it's good. It's real good. Yeah, for sure.
You had your cowboy sweatshirt on yesterday.
I did. Yeah, we had some.
Yeah.
It got pretty chilly. I don't know if it's chilly where you're at. But it got pretty cool.
It's
Actually pretty
cooler.
chilly now. It was in the 20s when I got out of my truck, so
Oh,
it's pretty cold here.
yeah. We're supposed to get down to like 20 below next week. So yeah, I'm ready for summer, Shaune. I'm
Oh
ready
my
to go to the
goodness.
beach. I'm going to Cabo 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Very
So
cool.
yeah, excited about that. So anyway, but I appreciate your time. I know you've done some big things in real estate. You got kind of a unique story too in terms of how you got in the business and all that. Can you go and tell everybody your story a little bit? How you got into real estate and how you
Uh,
built some of this stuff. Go ahead.
yeah, I think most of us probably get in untraditional reasons. I have no idea why I'm selling real estate. I mean, I really don't. It's uh, I guess God planned in some way, I'm sure. I could have done probably a lot of other things. I have certain qualities and skills that I'm pretty good at, and I'm able to kind of leverage those. But beyond that, I certainly didn't go to college with the intention of getting out and then getting a real estate license and selling real estate. It just never even was on my radar.
Right.
I went to school and I got a degree, and then I ended up going back for a HR degree. And I went back because I knew that my first degree was in entrepreneurship. I'm an entrepreneur for sure. I've always been.
Yeah.
Even when I worked back in the days at Papa John's Pizza, I would find ways to sell more pizza than anyone else.
There you
It
go.
could be, special deals. I would do cash deals for people that showed up. I would offer all kinds of best incentives and stuff. And man, we ran a crazy machine. I ended up winning Rookie Manager of the Year for Papa John back in 1999, 2000, something like that. And John
Okay.
Schnatter, he gave me Rookie Manager of the Year. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But I've always been an entrepreneur. And when I left that business, I looked at, well, where can I go where every company needed help? I decided I didn't want to do accounting. I didn't want to just be in marketing in general. So I decided I'll do human resources. I'm pretty good at seeing both the employer and the employee side in things, which makes me a natural broker, which means that I bring a buyer and a seller together. I think almost every business has this type of element in it. I'm exceptionally good at seeing both sides and be able to make things work. So that's one of those skills that I was able to really get good at working for an employer. And because they have competing interests, right? Employers want the most out of their employees for the least amount of cost, and employees want to feel appreciated and needed and make enough money to survive and keep coming back to work. So while I was there, the company does, I don't know, they did about 20 million a year, I think is what they were doing in the business they were in. But one of the side businesses was a custom home building business that he owned. He would build $1 million homes. And one of the challenges he had is getting someone that would be good that he could call on to sell these properties. So I made an offer to him. I said, I tell you what, I'm pretty decent at sales. I think I could probably handle that. Why don't we look at what if you paid for my license, my education, my ongoing fees every year, signs, marketing, all the way up to my broker license, and I will list all your properties for free, no cost. And that was the arrangement I made with him. So he set everything up, got that taken care of. Also got me an MBA, which was nice to have that as well while I was
Sure.
there. So I went through, did all of that, and I had a license. and I'm a broker now, right? Selling houses. And I said, I can sell his houses, but I have an open license. I'm an independent contractor. I can sell other things. So I started listing my friends' houses and I started helping them buy homes. It just, I didn't work for Coldwell. I didn't work for KW. I didn't have anyone teach me how to do any of these things, right?
Right.
So I had to kind of like come up with a system and a way to be able to sell and move homes just based on what I knew and understood on the way people are and the way the market was set up. So I kind of just created a lot of things of my own, so that was how I originally got started in getting into real estate. True West Realty is my brand. That was my independent brokerage license. That was what I operated everything under. I started that back in about 2008-ish. The same time I bought my first house, right? So I opened up True West Realty, and when you have your own brokerage, you might have an option where people want to come join and work with you. So I did, and I started just making up splits. I didn't know how to do this, right? I didn't have, teams. I didn't have team people to play. I didn't have contract coordinators. We didn't have much of that back then anyway. So I'm kind of doing it all myself. And I was like, you know what? I'll write the contracts for any of my agents. So I kind of started developing my own contract coordinating position back, at that time. I would write all their offers and I would submit them. And then I knew that at least that part was taken care of. And then I would make sure all the documents and stuff were done, and then we'd submit to title and get it closed out. I would run a few agents a year at the time. I finally started about 5-6 years ago. I went all in. I quit that job. I went all in as a independent, broker running my own business and adding agents. I ended up running about 6 to 10 agents a year at any given point in time. I would be developing, I'd coach them, I'd bring them in, I'd give them their splits, and I would be doing 70-30s, 80-20s, and then if you sold so much real estate, I would do 90-10s and maybe even better if you were real good. And I had some agents that we took from absolute scratch, which almost every one of them were, never sold real estate before in their life, and they would be selling. I had one, he hit 25 million in about, I think 3.5-4 years from scratch. Like he was still working a full-time job when he joined me.
Awesome.
So I knew that we had the right type of things in place that we could build success, and I had agents that were working with me that sold a lot more real estate than a lot of the agents that we were competing with. So I knew we had a really good place. So that's kind of how I got started. And then I rolled into adding agents and then coaching them and coming up with my Tuesday meetings and providing new content and things to help grow their business. That was up until about 3 years ago when I got introduced to EXP and how that model, we can come to that, but that's where.
Just real quick before you go to that. So with as you were building that business, like what would you say? Because I started building a team my 4th year in. I did 72 deals my 3rd year by myself, and it about killed me. I mean, it was just, I'm married, 2 daughters. They were 6 and 3 when I started. They were now whatever, 9 and 6, whatever. And man, it was crazy. Working those kind of hours. And again, it was just all 100% me. I wanted my wife to be home with the kids when I got started. So, it was crazy. So she got her license. And we started working together, went to Keller Williams. We built a team over there. My first hire was an assistant, which that was huge, to get just some of that stuff off my plate, that was big. But then we started building this team. What would you say, like when do you think it's good for someone, just, again, there's going to be new agents watching this, agents have been around for a while. At what point do you think, just for the average agent, when is a good stepping or a good turning point for them to start thinking about maybe doing that if they want to keep going? Because there's only so many hours in the day and week for all of us individually to do this. I mean, what were some of the benefits of having that team, being able to leverage, and when do you think is the right time for somebody to do that?
Sure. I mean,
thoughts there?
A lot of thoughts on all these type of things. I mean, I've been around it. I've done a whole lot of specific coaching on how to make a lot of this work better. Mm-hmm. It's funny you say, like, in your 3rd year, you did 72 transactions. I certainly didn't. I didn't do near that much. But when I went full time in, it's funny because, last year I did 120 transactions, right? And I work less than I did the previous year. I mean, I feel like every year I almost work less. I've become more efficient. My goal this year is 150 transactions for 50 million. I don't work weekends or evenings. So there are certain things that we can do in order to achieve that. At what point would I advise a newer agent to sign out transactional type of stuff or have an assistant? I don't think an assistant's necessary. I'll just tell you from a real high level. I have one, but I mean, I'm moving a lot of property. I think anyone that wants to get involved, they need to learn that they make money specifically doing three things, right? You show homes, you're negotiating contracts, and you're going to listing appointments. Those are your three primary functions of work. There are lead generation, there is writing contracts, there is other things associated with what you do, but you make more money per hour doing those three things. And I think everyone can be coached that from day one. I have added to my team is a contract coordinating role, and I've assigned a third party company that I pay them, and then they charge a flat rate per transaction. Any one of you can get online and look up and find transaction coordinators. I think if you're doing more than 1 to 2 transactions a month, have a transaction coordinator. The few $100 you spend a month on that is incredibly efficient and time savings for you. You have no idea.
Yeah.
And then you learn how to build into your contracts how to avoid situations where you're making decisions on weekends and evenings. I don't have to work weekends and evenings on my own contracts because I have built into them that we're not going to be having decision-making points in the weekends and evenings. Those are some high-level thoughts. There's other specifics on how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But those are a couple of things that we can do to become a much more efficient, machine and not have the business own us, right?
Right.
You and I have talked about this before. I know we talked about it yesterday. I mean, you can have a business that runs you, or you can run your business.
Absolutely.
One of the things I learned way back when I went to, licensing school back in like 2004, it's a long time ago, 2004 when I actually took the classes where I go, Leonard Hawes. I don't even think anybody knows what that is anymore, but I went there in class and they taught me. The one thing I took away from that was that you can determine a schedule that you work. You don't have to be at the mercy of the client. And that was, really impactful for me because I was already working full time. I'm like, man, I can't, be running out. I'm sitting here in HR, vice president of human resources, handling HR issues, and someone calls me and say, hey, I need to go look at a house in an hour. Okay, I'll go show you, right? That's never going to win.
Mm-hmm.
So we always have to have a proactive plan for our clients. We tell them next steps, either sellers or buyers. And part of the next steps is if I'm working with the buyer, we're going to go look at homes on Thursday from 4 to 5. There's 3 houses we're going to look at, and we're going to decide on one of those. That's a proactive plan that I can give them. And buyers feel far more at ease when they have a plan, it's workable, executable, and it works, based on what you provide them and the parameters that you have for them. That's how you can manage and control the schedule that works for you. And it works great for your clients because now it's organized and we're not running around with their head cut off.
Yeah.
And
it sets some boundaries, a little bit. And I think if you just have that talk, what I learned eventually, I mean, I had to learn all this stuff, figure it out, but I got to that point where if I just sat down with the clients, buyer or seller, and just told them like, here's how I work, here's how we do it, this is how we sold 72 homes last year and did all this kind of stuff, and here's the hours that I do things. I do have a wife and 2 kids, and and they respect they respect the time when you just tell them. They'll respect those boundaries, but you're almost like you're training them a little bit how you're going to work and how to work with you, and it goes great. I think what happens is we don't do that, and now we're flying all over the place. The phone rings at 9 o'clock or 9:30, and you answer it. Well, then you're just training them that that's okay to do, and so and you can get really burnt out on that pretty quick in this industry. I mean, you see that all the time. Like, oh my God, I'm working, and I'll be honest, like there's a lady here in town, and she's a great agent. Everybody here knows her, and this has been a couple of months ago. I remember it was probably last fall, but she put a post on Facebook, and I remember it just like it made me crazy. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and here's the post. It's like, what a great day, what showed 3 buyers, 14 homes, had a listing appointment, wrote an offer on this, got my inspection in, whatever, 10 o'clock at night, just finished. What a great day. And I'm like, I look at that post, I'm like, oh my God, like, no.
Like it's stressful. It's stressful
Because
reading it.
I know this lady, and she's a great lady. I'm not. She's a great agent. Okay, but I know too. She's got 3 kids. They're all under the age of 10. It's like, I'm like, that's not a great day. Your family just got put way over here in the dirt. Whatever. That's probably an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. Like, just like, your kids need you, your family needs you. Like, it's just I get it. We got all this stuff to do, and business wise, okay, maybe it's a great thing, but it's like, I mean, does that push a button in you at all? It does in me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I've got 2 kids.
How old are your kids?
I have 3 kids. I have 2 that are one's 1, 3, and 7. Right. So I've got 2 kids that are in diapers that need full dependence of everything. Right. I have to be there for all kinds of things. I've been married, Stacy. We've been married for 14 years. Yeah. I'm sorry, 16 years. Said it wrong. 16 years.
Okay.
There's a whole lot of things that that have our needs and interests. And I didn't wake up doing it this way to the start, right? Just like you said. I mean, you learn these things.
Sure.
And my wife has let me know plenty of times that my business does not work well with her business. And she's a kindergarten teacher, and she is off right in the evening, and she's got to unplug for that period of time, and my phone's ringing off the hook, right? Because that's the kind of business that we're in. Right. So yeah, setting those expectations. I'll second your thought on talking to clients about expectations and where things go, right? It's not about what we can't do. It's about what we are going to do to win. And if it ever comes to that point where they don't feel like there's enough availability, or we're not going to be able to, handle them as a client, I always let them know, man, I don't lose houses because of me. I won't get in the way. And one of the things you said about having an assistant, I think it's better, instead of having an assistant when you're early on, it's having a partner agent, right? There could be, I've gotten so comfortable at this point, I have plenty of clients that I work, and I'll write contracts, I'll negotiate, I'll do things that I'm good at. Half of them I don't even see, I haven't even met. Yeah. And I'll successfully close the transaction, get it done. But during that time period, we're making offers and showing houses. I have agents that I just say, hey, go take care of showing them houses. And I let them take on everything that they want to take on. If they end up negotiating the deal and taking it to closing, well, then heck, that deal's theirs. If they can only show it a few times, we get it under contract, then I'll pay them for their showing time. There's ways to make it so everybody wins and nobody has to give up anything that they're going to lose. I have easy splits and things to address all these things. And I don't get into it with any of my agents for any of it, because I'm always fair. And I think, there's just ways that you can make it so we all win, and there's plenty of work when you create the work. I have right now, I've got a little over 30 agents, but on my specific team at True West, I probably have roughly about 18. And there's probably about 12 to 13 of them that are just full-time, ready to take an offer, and, or take a client and run with them right now. And it's for me, I'm a rainmaker, right? So I create leads and opportunities. I create probably hundreds of lead opportunities a month. And then I also get a lot of my own personal that come to me, and then I just assign them out directly. And I give it all away. I mean, I don't need to work more deals personally. I think I'm doing enough as it is. Right. And I love it because, I get to really involve them. They get to be a part of the process, and it gives me great coaching opportunities to walk them through and close transactions. Mm-hmm. I thought about this for 2021, the 2 things that really made a difference. I'm going to create kind of a post about my 2021 in review. Because I went as an independent broker from selling roughly about 7 to 10 million a year to 17 million, and then up to 32 million. And then I did 37.5 million last year. And, the big thing for me is I really enjoy solving complex real estate problems, right? Someone calls me and I love it. I have them put me on the spot every Tuesday. I said, give me whatever problems you have this week. Your appraisal's short. The buyer doesn't want to sign that document. There's a lease back now. We're talking about doing a buyer temp lease back, and I compare that to a seller. Whatever it is, I said, just put me on the spot. Let's work it out. And I love it, because it allows me to take these difficult, transactional issues, because I've done so many of them. And now I can share and coach others on how we kind of look at it and address it. And a lot of times I can usually simplify things to what I call it the lowest common denominator, right? Just a term I use. You think back in fractions and math, we try to find multiple big numbers. We try to trim them down to the smallest number that's still the same fractional, number.
Right.
And I'll do that in transactions. Sometimes you just have to get back to, does the seller want to sell the house? Does the buyer want to buy the house? If we don't accomplish that part, then stop talking. Let's end this deal. But as long as those two things are in place, I can normally always find some way to bridge this gap that we have. I'm telling you, transactions that were dead, I'm at like 90%. I'm going to close that transaction.
Yeah.
It might be non-refundable earnest money. It might be, I got all kinds of ways to solve problems. But, most people just get caught up on these specific details and they can't move past it. Like the dumbest thing I ever see in inspections is that buyers are like, oh my gosh, the foundation's bad or whatever it is. I said, well, all I need to do is, if I tell my agent, our objective is one thing. We have to give a buyer peace of mind about buying the property moving forward. If you don't achieve that, then we can't move past this transaction. And it's not that hard to achieve, but you guys get caught up in the details and are focused on these cracks in the walls and all these specifics. I said, the buyer is only concerned that when they move forward, they know what they're going to be dealing with financially, and they know that they can deal with it moving forward. If they can cover that, then we have buyer peace of mind, we can move forward. And I give them ways to solve that problem.
Right.
I really enjoy that prospect.
Sure.
I think the other thing that I really enjoyed this last year, I don't know how much you know, Jeff. I do probably, I don't know, let's just call it half my business off market stuff. It's not a business that most of us in your and I's field, especially licensed agents, deal much with. But I do a lot of off market stuff, right? I move a lot of property off market, and I'm able to convert them, make them nice, clean, fresh homes. That's a big part of my inventory and how I sell so many houses. I have the same clients. I don't even have to talk to them, and we can, process, complete their homes, flip them, and get them on the market, right? When you can start building in a pipeline of those type of things, you become real efficient too. That's another big reason why I have so much efficiency. But it's putting people to work. I thought about this the other day. I was talking to my business partner on my flipping side of the business, and I said, one of the things that I'm really exceptionally excited about and just really motivates me is that on an average week, I put hundreds of people to work. Hundreds. That's a big deal to me. I don't have an official business. They're all independent contractors. They can stop working for me at any point in time, and I can stop hiring them at any point in time. That's why I love independent contract work, by the way, because I have to. It's a stop start. It's I agree to work with you on this transaction. I never have to work with you again. So I have to earn your business, and you have to earn mine. That's a great relationship. It's ongoing. It continuously goes as long as you continue to take care of each other. So I have, contractors that do work on the field. I have obviously title and appraisers, inspectors, all the other stuff that we have going on. And then, all the agents that I have in my team. So I thought about that. I was like, being able to impact that many people directly, like by work I'm creating, and I'm putting them and leveraging them and having them go to work, especially in an economy like this, right? Just everything's crazy. Nobody is enjoying where they work, or they can't keep their job, or there's so much instability. I kept most of these guys all the way through the COVID and the pandemic.
That's awesome.
So anyway, that's been a couple of things that have been really exciting.
Oh, very cool. No, there's so much good stuff there. Yeah, and before I get off of this topic and move on, because I've entitled this thing, because you said it yesterday, you work about 30 hours a week.
Yeah,
but
I try to work about 6 hours a day, 6 hours a day, roughly.
Yeah, 5 days a week. Now there will be those emergency situations. You got to do something at 8 o'clock at night, maybe a call or something. That will happen here and there, right?
I'm telling you, it almost never happens.
Right.
I work. My work time is what I call what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
You're interrupting my work time.
Yeah, I apologize.
I get in roughly, let's just say 9 to 2:30, 3 o'clock, and that's just the time in front of my computer. I go through, I work through all the emails, I convert it all, I set them up with whoever they need to be with. I take care of my listings, things like that. The only things that are happening, like you said, at 8 o'clock at night, is I will get my phone calls and I won't answer them. I'm just telling you, I don't.
Yeah.
If they leave a message or they send me a text, they want to know about a listing, I'll give them a proper response, and then they can talk to me during the day. Yeah. And I let them know that. I said, hey, I'm not going to make a decision. Just relax. You guys are all worked up. You want to put in your offer. Get back to me in the morning. I'll give you the whole scenario. And I walk them through and tell them how we can put deals together and make things happen. I'm very collaborative. I don't do multiple offers either. tell you, I do a lot of things different.
Yeah.
I think multiple offers makes everyone all stressed and everybody's mad and they hate each other. I don't see how that's a win for anybody. It's not a win for the agents. I don't even know if that's a win for the seller. It's just, it creates so much hostility. Yeah. I tell agents that bring me offers, and I get multiple offers on my properties. I don't do a best and final. I tell them all, I work what comes in. The higher the offer, the faster I work. Mm-hmm. And if it's a really good offer, I'm willing to work it right then. And then when the other offers that are close, that are good, and I've got a relationship built with the client, the agent, which you need to build that if you want to sell a house.
Sure.
Is I just let them know. I said, look, I'm not like the way other people do. I'm not going to put it back on the market and make you start all the way over. I'm going to call you first. And I'm telling you, more often than not, my first offers don't work. I've done this too much. I get buyer remorse. I get their expectations are up here. Oh, you mean the house is not perfect? Well, I want $30,000 or I'm walking. Okay, well, try another house. And then I call that back up. And I tell you, I've been the backup offer, and I've won houses that I lost on the initial offers. I stay on it. Yeah. That's how you close deals. I'm not going to put in the effort to go through all that and not have an opportunity to win. Right. Unless I know I have no opportunity to win, then I'll move on. But if I think there's an opportunity, I stay on it.
Sure. Let me ask you this, kind of shift gears here a little bit. What's, building your company the way you did, True West Realty, like what's been maybe the biggest, is there a pain point? Like what's been one of the hardest things? What's been one of the challenges in terms of, building that business, building that company? Sure. For you as the broker owner or a team leader, what do you think is one of the biggest challenges that you've had over the years?
Yeah. I mean, I love that question. I mean, you realize, you're running a business and we all have, and I'm telling you, I don't know how many times you talk to brokers, they all have egos, right? They all think that I don't want to ever go to the big brand. I don't want to ever be assimilated anywhere else. I've got a better option here. We've got family, we're all connected. We got the culture, and I thought I had a lot of those things too, right? I'd meet in person with every agent. I would train them personally. I would coach them. I would give them leads. I would give them great splits. We do the annual parties. We do the semi-annual parties. I was very involved, and they knew that I cared, that they had a success, with me. But the reality is I didn't have enough of the tools and things is one thing. I didn't have a lot of the resources and things I have now. But the other thing is no matter what I did, I would still lose 20, 30% of it. That was one major pain point. I would take agents. They would leave. Sure, yeah. So I take agents that went from zero to making, selling 8-10 million a year. And when you reach that point, well, I don't know if I really need Shaune Corbett anymore. I think I can probably do this on my own. I'm not calling him as much anymore. So instead of paying whatever percent split we have, I'll just go do a flat fee arrangement and I'll make more money. That's always the thinking. And, it's sad, almost every time I've had that happen, they move on, they end up selling less real estate. Right. I try to explain to people, flat fee is great on paper. The problem is that I don't know many over there that sell enough real estate to make it worth it long term. If you don't have transactions, you can't build a referral only based business. And we're going to run out of time before I talk about what that business model looks like. But it's basically you write your own schedule, you choose your own clients, and you don't work weekends and evenings. You get to do whatever you want. And it's a very good, happy place to do when you sell real estate. Most real estate agents never achieve that. But to get to referral only based business, you got to sell real estate, not just save some money on a transaction. You got to sell real estate. My pain point was going through that process and losing agents, having to always replace them. The second thing is I'm the majority of the income from my company. It wasn't coming from my agents. I couldn't charge them 50%, and keep them. I had to charge them 20, 30%. And at that point, I'm making marginal amounts. And you have to have 30, 40 agents in order to be able to overcome that point where I could get out of production. I never reached that point. Mm-hmm. So those two are my biggest pain points. And then that's when I was introduced to EXP. And I found out
3 years ago, 4 years ago?
3 years ago, yeah.
3 years
I found
ago?
out
Okay.
I could do everything the same way that I was good at. Coaching, training. I loved my brand. I was building a brand. And it wasn't my name. For those out there, I don't think that building a brand around your name is a good idea, but that's a whole nother story. I built it around a brand that we could get behind because it wasn't attached to me specifically. True West Realty is a totally made up name. So we could continue to build that. And anyone that I know that I sold real estate with, because I sold quite a bit before I ever came to EXP, they know me as True West Realty, and most of them had no idea I even came over to EXP. I mean, that's a big, thing that I think a lot of the ego people can't get past.
Sure.
I got to keep my brand and my control and everything. You don't have to, or you can keep it all, or you don't. It's up to you. I decided to keep it because I had agents that wanted to keep it. So I said, okay, I'll keep it.
Right.
So I've been using it, leveraging that, and then I've built over 30 agents here so far in the 3 years, and I haven't lost an agent yet. That's like, to me, the testimonial that says that either it could be by chance. I don't think so. I don't go from 20-30% turnover, to zero. Or it could be that the tools are probably better here, and the opportunity for long-term, growth and long-term retirement and stock options and coaching and everything they could possibly need. They get more of me than they did when I was an independent broker.
Yeah,
they do. They get more of me because I'm not liable for anything they do. I'm not responsible for anything that they do. And I don't have to deal with any of the back end transactional stuff. All that's through our SkySlope system. I mean, they get me on the transactional side, and I'm going to coach them how to sell more houses, and we're going to sell more houses. Yeah. I had an brand new agent join me last year, and he iconed his first year.
Wow.
So there, I know icon is a whole nother topic, but the
talk about that real quick, just to explain that to people, because again, for a first year agent, like, that's huge. You've hit it 3 times now.
I have, yeah.
Is that right? So explain that to everybody who's watching this that doesn't know how that works with EXP.
Icon means you're in a position where you can get paid more than you pay the company. It's probably a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
There's some technical things to it, but
that's impossible, Shaune. That can't happen.
I know. It sounds impossible, doesn't it?
I hear that all the time. And I thought the same thing. How do you get over 100%? There's no way. I was at a 100% company before I came over here, and once I wrapped my head around, like, wait a minute, like, I've been over 100% since I've been here, which is like unheard of.
People say that they have 100% options, but there's no way to. If they made no money, they couldn't survive. EXP has a way for producing agents to earn over 100%, and they survive just fine because all the money is built into the way they do their system. And if you see the way that the system works, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm able to keep over 100%. My stock is increasing incredibly fast. I'm growing a retirement in stock. I'm obviously growing a retirement in pure profit rev share for every agent that joins anywhere on my team. Yeah. And they don't have to be in my team. They can be an independent broker running their own show. It can be an independent agent getting some help from me. I help everybody anyway. I don't even care if they're on my team or not. Mm-hmm. Or they can be in my team and get everything that I can offer them.
Yeah. And no borders. I mean, again, they don't have to be right there in your
backyard. No, I've got agents in Florida, New York, Tennessee, Louisiana, obviously Texas. I've got agents in other states.
That's awesome.
And True West Realty could not have agents in other states.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And for me, I'm in 10 states now, but one I see in the last 12 months, I've now got agents in India, Brazil, Canada, Mexico, and then the 10 states here in the U.S.
Yeah,
which is awesome. And I tell people all the time, it's almost like you really can, over time, you could build something here to really prevent something like 2008 happening to you in your business. I mean, we lost a lot of agents in 2008. I mean, they were out of business. And most agents out there, again, they don't build a business. They're just transactional, doing these deals, the next paycheck, the next deal, the next closing, all that kind of stuff. And within 2 or 3 months, if there's not a closing, they're scrambling, or having to get a part-time job or out of business completely. We see that a lot in this business. I mean, most people, what is it, 2 years, the lifespan of most realtors on average?
Yeah.
And they're out. They're done. They didn't build it right. They didn't go after it. They didn't hustle. All that stuff you got to do when you're building it. But, like for me, like let's say, I don't know, so many things out of our control. 2008 was out of our control. Health issues were out of our control. All kinds of things that could happen that we don't think about it, but they happen. 2008 happened. This economy we're in right now, it's crazy times right now. But I know that our economy here, no matter what happens here, our economy is not the same as India, where there's over 1 million agents, and
Sure.
I'm now getting paid on closings that are happening over there. It's almost like you can recession-proof your business to some degree over time with this. As it builds, you build an international business with this model, which I'd never seen before. And that's exciting. I'm more excited today than I was 4 years ago when I made the move to EXP. I can't wait to see where this goes in the next 4 years. It's gonna be
I'm
fun.
with you. I'm with you
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely. So you hit Icon 3 years. Your guy, your brand new agent. Because I hear that too sometimes. Like, well, EXP is good for the established agents, but the new agents, no, 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 no. You got to go somewhere else for a couple of years before you ever go to EXP. What would you say to that? Like, I know it's not true. You and I both know it's not true.
But we sell houses.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know a better way. So I went to they do these award ceremonies and stuff for high producing agents.
Sure.
And they did one in December. I went to one. They actually nominated me for one of the categories. It was network, the one that brings people together. Networking is something that I'm pretty good at. That's how I build a lot of my stuff. I don't have my hands on a lot of things directly, but I can solve the problem through
Right.
someone in one of my resources that I use. So anyway, that was one of the things that I'm really good at, and I was nominated for it. I didn't know how big this thing was, right? So I went to the event, my wife and I, and we had it dressed completely to the nines, and they had all the top guys out there, right? All the big names you would know in this area in Dallas-Fort Worth, and a lot of the newer brokerages that have come up and really exploded on the scene. We have a company, Monument is one. They're up there. Roger Healy's another one. And they were all there. So I was like, wow, they really did get the big players out here. What you don't see, though, is you don't see the flat fee agencies. Everyone thinks that there's an opportunity there where they can save some money, but they don't sell real estate. I don't know how to say it in a nice way. I'm just telling you, like, I saw the people that produce and sell real estate, and the ones that produce and sell real estate are ones at places that can supply support, provide opportunities, that are plugged in and that are committed to working with them. You come over, even at EXP, you got to find somewhere you can plug in and have some success too. You're still an independent agent, for agents that join my group or your group, but they get us, right?
Right.
And,
Right.
and it makes a world of difference when you have someone that knows the business and actually sells real estate, and ones that can actually create the opportunities to help them sell a lot more real estate. So that's a really big factor in the decision that people make when they decide on who to go with for a broker.
Yeah. We have a lady here in town. Her name's Kelly Kortner, and I did an interview with her a few weeks ago. But she got licensed June of 2020. So the pandemic had all started. We're still trying to figure all this out. We were like locked down for a while, couldn't do anything, and all this stuff. In her first 12 months as a realtor, here at EXP, she did 42 deals. And to
Wow.
me, it just hit Icon. I mean, she's just phenomenal. I mean, again, it's like it takes away every excuse for the agent out there that they've been in the business for 2 years and they've done 6 deals and they don't know what's going on. I mean, again, it doesn't mean you can do it. You might need more coaching, more training, more accountability, more whatever. But there's ways to get it done if the drive and the desire is deep enough. It's like, I don't know. There's no excuses for it, really. You can do whatever you want to do in this business, whether you're here or any other company. But I think the one nice thing about here is the tools, getting the kind of training we get, KV Core, having that added in, that incentive to have with the stock bonuses, we get all that kind of stuff.
Well, I've had agents join that turn over and they work at other places, right? And then they come here and they don't leave and they sell real estate. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not saying there's a magic pill or anything, but there's
Sure.
certain things that people can do that they don't ever move past. I'm telling you, most places and most other brokerages and places I know of, they just don't have enough real interest in the individual agent to help them grow and move past themselves. I push, and I think having someone push behind you and give you some opportunities at the same time, we can create some really, really good things.
Right. One last thing I want to hit, Shaune, because you being an independent brokerage, an independent broker owner coming over here, one great thing, again, you can keep your brand like you did. You don't lose that. That's one of the biggest challenges I think that those guys have to work through, or they think that they're going to lose that brand, which they don't. But also the liability, the fact that that's not there anymore.
I think that was the number
one
reason.
You?
Yeah, I think that was the number one reason I moved past selling 7, 8, 9 million a year to 17 million that first year. I doubled. First year I came over here.
Wow.
When you cut all the strings and all the attachments that you have as a broker, overhead, fixed costs, liability, being responsible, being the actual broker of record on the transaction to address issues. That when you cut all those strings, man, I could sell. I don't know why I couldn't do 100 million a year now. I mean, I don't have anything holding me back.
Yeah.
I voluntarily do these calls like this, right? Or trainings and stuff like that, just because I want to pour in and help other people. But, I am so free now to be able to sell a lot of real estate, as much real estate as I really want to sell. I can sell a lot more real estate, but I love my family more.
Sure. Sure.
I love
Well,
my
and I
little
think
baby.
here I think here within a few years, you've got options here because you're getting paid multiple ways for doing what you're going to do anyway with your real estate. Getting those stock bonuses, having some agents join you, whatever, getting that, the revenue share that comes in there. I mean,
Oh, it creates all kinds of exit plans that you never would have had before, right? I mean, even
no,
if you just think about iconing and they give you your $16,000 cap back. I mean, it's like what you said the other day, you have a franchise fee attached to a lot of these other
yeah,
places you could be at. And even if the stock never made any money and it drops to $1, I'm not any worse off than I would have been at Remax, right? Or somewhere else.
totally.
I would have, what's the difference, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I only gain, and I buy as much stock as I can, and it's paid pretty darn well.
Heck yeah.
It actually bailed me out. You gave an incredible scenario talking about Aaron Ken and his scenario, but
Yeah.
I know for me, I had that storm in February of last year. That member that took over the nation.
Yeah.
We shut down DFW for a week, and we ended up having a pipe burst. We had a couple of them, and it was over 100 grand in renovation on my house, and
Wow.
insurance and everything else was tied up. I finally got paid out almost a year later, but
Wow.
I needed $100,000. Not all of us have that sitting in the checking account ready to go. Well, I had plenty of stock to pull from, and I took care of it just like that.
That's awesome.
So big win for me.
Yeah, and just to share here, because I know we talked about it yesterday, but again, that the whole recording didn't work. But just to share it, guys. So Aaron Ken, good friend of mine in Dallas, first guy that I ever showed EXP to, and we were in a coaching program together. He was top 50 Keller Williams in the world. Great friend, great agent. Started his own brokerage, Ken Real Estate Group, down there in Dallas in 2009. So my wife and I moved to EXP February 2018. He was the first guy I called. Sent him a video. He watched it. He brought his brokerage, 9 agents over here. He called me a year ago. His stock hit 1.2 million, cashed out 1,000 shares, paid off his house, paid off his cars, completely debt free. He called me up just to say, dude, like 19 years of being in the business, the last 2.5 years here has completely changed our lives. Thank you for calling me and showing me EXP. And that gets me out of bed every morning to call as many agents as I can to just open yourself up to look at it. You don't have to join. It might not be for you. I can't imagine why it's not. I feel like you're missing something if you don't make the move. You're not understanding something, or you heard something that's probably not true, because there's a lot of misinformation out there as well. But you owe it to yourself and your family, I think, just to look at this thing, and just to at least know what's going on over here. And then you evaluate it for yourself and decide if it's something you want to do or not. But you will make more money and get paid more by being here, doing what you're going to do anyway. And then 3 to 5 years from now, you have some options. You want to sell 100 homes a year, you can do that. Yeah, if you want to pull back, like my thing, I'd love to get to a point where I'm just referring it all out, and I make more money than the guy doing 100 homes a year. And I got all the time in the world because I'm getting paid multiple ways for stuff I was going to be doing anyway. Have you ever been to a Realtor retirement party, Shaune? Ever in your life? I haven't.
They have those? No, I don't think they have those, man.
I've been to Realtor funerals.
Yeah, they don't have realtor retirement parties. They
They
work,
don't.
and they're showing houses until they die. There is no exit
Yeah,
strategy in being
that's
a
what
realtor.
happens,
That's 100% true.
Definitely. So, well, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you again for doing this again, a second time. Totally appreciate it. I know you're
Yeah, you
busy and
bet.
a lot going on. Any last words you want to throw out there before we wrap it up?
No, I'm honored you invited me on to do an interview. I don't get a chance to kind of share a lot of the backstory much, so it's kind of fun
It's
to
awesome.
kind of go through it. No, I appreciate it. Thanks, Jeff,
Yeah.
for having me on.
No, for sure. Unique stories and a lot of great stuff there too, as far as people can take this and apply it to their business. So, guys, thank you very much for jumping in here. Have a great weekend. Do me a favor, hit the like button, comment on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, whatever. We'll always look at those comments, and if you have questions, get back to you. If you have a question for Shaune, he'll see it. We'll get them answered for you. So, Shaune, thank you again. Have a great weekend. Okay, thanks, guys. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Thank you.